What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. Sunday Monday, but only on Tuesdays, right here in the building, coming to you live on no other day but Tuesday, because every day is Tuesday. The only day is Tuesday. Teeny Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, however you want to look at it. We here, we back, and today we have a very interesting topic. Not a new topic, but interesting topic, one that has been circulating through the media quite hastily the last few weeks, since roughly the beginning of October. Transgender women must sign up for the military draft under the Biden administration, and trans men get a pass. Now, according to the CNN article, transgender women must still register for the military draft according to the U.S. Selective Service. U.S. citizens or immigrants who are born male and change their gender to female are still required to register. The Selective Service states on its official website, individuals who were born female but identify as male do not need to register for the military draft per the government. The policy is not new, but gained attention after the Selective Service tweeted at parents on Friday, reminding them that their sons must register. Parents, if your son is an only son and the last male in your family to carry the family name, he is still required to register with the Selective Service. That's crazy. I think that part's unfair. Now, the tweet linked to its government website outlining that almost all male U.S. citizens and male immigrants who are 18 through 25 are required to register with the Selective Service. The policy predates the Biden administration, but the White House expressed support for all people to be included in the draft last year. The administration supports Section 513 and the registration requirement for all citizens, which further ensures a military selective system that is fair and just. The White House said last year as Congress weighed adding women to a measure in the National Defense Authorization Act that will require them to register for the draft. So now we are at that point where women, the debate is up, should women be required to register for the Selective Service? I think that's going to be a serious topic. I don't agree. I don't think that the women should register for Selective Service, because who's going to come take care of the kids? Women are having children at an early age these days. Men also, but men are supposed to be fighters. That's traditional conservative thought, right? Men, fighters, household providers. They pay the bills. They go to work. You know what I'm saying? They're the protectors. That's what we were put on this great earth for, as men, to protect. You know, we're supposed to go out and fight. We're supposed to go out and defend our families for our lives. The women only have to defend the family for their lives if they have to. If the home's being attacked and the male's not there. Why are we sending the men and the women out? If a couple, a man or a woman, and not necessarily a together couple, but if a man and a woman have a baby, and then they both have to be drafted at the age of 21, what happens to the child? I mean, it literally says here that if you're a mother and you have a son and your son is the last one to carry the name, he has to go. So how would that apply to women if they now force women to enter the selective draft? And I think it's going to pass, because if not, it's going to be deemed discrimination, which is what America is going through right now. Back and forth, talking about what is right, what is wrong, how things should be, and how we want things to be. And the problem is that, in my personal opinion, structure is being lost in America. And that's the truth. Structure is being lost. The other day, I saw a tweet by Mark Pugh, and shout out to my boy Pugh with Pugh Studios right here in Shreveport, Louisiana. He's a comedian. Definitely check him out down at the Laugh Out Loud Club, downtown Shreveport. They perform, and he has lots of performances and lots of stand-up comedy session. Guy's very funny, but he caught my eye with a tweet the other day, and he said, "I think we all insane." Quote, "You can be whoever you want to be, but be yourself, but be the person I think you should be." Now, how does that pertain to the topic of today. Well, from the standpoint that I got out of his tweet was that, they preach to us you can be whoever you want to be. Basically implying that you don't have to be yourself. But then they say, just be yourself. But then when you go out and you hit real life, it's society believes that you should be the person I want you to be or I think you should be in order to appeal to society's standards. Same thing with the transgender situation. Same thing with what's going on with the selective service situation. No one is stepping in and saying this is how things are and this is how things should be. We're so caught up with the emotions of the smaller group of people, which in actuality is the larger group of people, the minority, us, the citizens. We outweigh the government. We outweigh the military. There's more regular people in the world than there are government officials and military. But rather than taking authority, the Biden administration, the Democrats, are simply just giving people what they want, or at least making it look that way, making it look like we're fighting for equality, giving all these people, all these different things. We're breaking down gender roles. We're breaking down traditional societal roles, and that's an entirely different topic, because I had a conversation with a friend of mine the other day about, gender roles and men taking care of the household, women working, and who should pay the bills, who shouldn't. And it's a big confusion nowadays on who should be paying the bills, who makes more money. And my whole issue is, why does it matter? We've broken down gender roles. Back then, 200 years ago, women couldn't work at all, even if they wanted to. And if they did work, they had women pertain jobs, quilting, sewing, and even in the military, nursing and nursing and patching and doing answering phones and typing telegraph. Those were women implied jobs. The men did the hard labor, but now women are allowed to do the hard labor for equal pay. And you got to realize that I looked up the statistics. There's 164 million women in the world and 163 million men. Now, how many of those are adults? How many of those actually work? I didn't go so far as to get those numbers. But even then, if you look at it, if you were to take away at least half of those women, 164 million women, and you take away half of those women, so you do 164 divided by 2, and that's going to leave you with 74 million, right? 74 million women. All of those women making basic wage, you take that wage, you take those women and give those women jobs, and I'm not encouraging to take away the rights of women. I'm just trying to make a point here. If half of those women weren't working, much of that money could go to men, especially men that were not working. So how is it today that men get half the money system for men is diluted? It's shared with women equally. So how is it that men are still in today's society held responsible for protecting the household, working, paying all the bills, and then still allowing the woman to do whatever she wants to do or be equal, go out, work full time, make money, and she still expects men to pay for everything? Well, you literally can come to work with me and we can work the exact same job. At my job, I have a husband and a wife that work together, and they literally make the same amount of money together every day. And, who's the person that wears the pants in their relationship? We don't really know. We only know behind closed doors and what, is going on in their personal. So I only bring that about because it's like, I'm not saying I'm all for women's rights, and I'm all for women being able to work, women being able to have their independence, having their freedom, and even having their voice, having the right to choose what they do with their own body. I'm all for that, but I'm just bringing about a point here. How can we still hold men to the same standard that they were held to in the 1800s, early 1900s, 20s, 30s, 40s, before women really gained a lot of access to equal pay, equal rights, and equal employment? Over the last 2 scores, roughly 40 years or half a century, the money system has been diluted. gender roles have been diluted because of those decisions. You know, it's harder for men to find jobs because a lot of jobs are being given to women. And I'm not saying that those women don't deserve those jobs. I'm just saying, you know, people have to wake up and look at the facts. We have to wake up and look at, you know, the causes of the effects and not just the effects. We're looking today and we talk about the effects. We talk about, you know, what's going on. And I think that it's just crazy. You know, opening the door now to say, okay, well, we've given men that want to be women the right to say that they're women, and women that want to be men the right to say that they're men. And now when it comes to, well, who's going to get drafted? Well, if the men don't want to be drafted, they could just say, oh, no, I'm a woman. Well, that's not fair. It's not fair. Just because you think you're a woman, you were born this way. Something has to be concrete. Everything can't be a fantasy. Something has to be concrete. There has to be laws in order. You know, when you're raising children in your house, you don't just let your children do what you want to do. You have to establish order. They have to grow up and learn. You can teach them to have an open mind, but ultimately there has to be structure so that life can move accordingly. And I'm not going to be too much longer here, but I definitely think that this selective service situation is a big one. I think that it's a serious topic. I think that it is something to be looking out for in the near future. Now that we're at midterm elections in 2 more years, I think that that's going to be a serious topic, especially with the war going on in Ukraine and Russia. And, you know, I read earlier that the Army fell 15,000 short of their recruitment goal last year, and it's becoming a struggle. So it's like, hey, you know, the support for America by its own citizens is down. And the government is now struggling to get those recruitments. And now that people are finding excuses and finding ways to cop out of things that they don't want to do, like the draft, the government is going to step in and say, okay, well, you know, we're just going to draft everybody from 18 to 25. And I think that that's harmful. I think that that's toxic. I think that's harmful. It's going to mess up the structure, and it's another attack on our children, because these children will grow up without parents, and they're going to grow up with old school, traditional, conservative grandparents hypnotizing them from white people to teaching their children racism. And even with blacks, you know, teaching their children to be separate. And separate but equal is basically what we're pushing through without directly saying it. We're still pushing this separate but equal thing. Like, you know, you do what you want to do, you don't do, but we're equal. And that's, I think it's total BS. I think that the selective service is a big deal. I think that it's something that the military should keep traditional, and I think that they should stick by their ruling. I definitely support that the transgender women who used to be men, who were born men, because let's keep it fact here. Men and men don't make babies, and women don't make babies without that change. If you take away the change, if you were not able to get the change, then men and men would not make a baby, and women do not produce children. Men and women produce children. Those are facts that can't be taken out, that cannot be taken away. If nature allowed it, that would be different, but nature does not naturally allow 2 Y chromosomes to reproduce, or 2 X chromosomes to reproduce. It has to be an X and a Y. It has to be an XX and a Y. And so until the world, America specifically, and just the world in general, can get back to those facts, our infrastructure, our nation, is crumbling apart. I just want to thank everybody for listening. Keep your eye out, because things are getting really hectic in the world. Things are getting really, really crazy out there. And we're going to be keeping you up to date with the war in Ukraine. We're going to keep you up to date with the new blackouts. That's going to be our next episode for on tomorrow, Tuesday. And just definitely tune in, and we appreciate you all for watching. Shout out to KMP Inks and the Media Mike Speaks for allowing us to follow up and piggyback on some of their content. KMP Inks is our everyday sponsor for t-shirts, apparel, hats. Definitely go check out their website, www.kmpinks.com. And shout out to my boy Pat out there. Tell him that Mr. Tuesday sent you for their Tuesday discount. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and with nothing else to be said, peace.